Hey guys, happy Friday. We have a pretty big chapter we're leaving Roz off on to build some suspense over the weekend. So we left Roz down in the tunnels in the sewer. And we know that a rat helped her, and she's still on the run from those Ricos. So let's find out. Chapter 78, The Chase. The street was empty. No people were walking, no robots working, no automobiles driving. Roz looked to the sky, hoping to see Bright Bill or Strutter. But what she saw was a fleet of white triangular ships. They were floating over the city, searching for the runaway robot, and they had just spotted her. Rosum, Unit 17134, do not move. 3 robots zipped down from the ships on cables. They were Ricos 10, 11, and 12. How many Ricos are there? Each held a rifle at his side, but they did not fire their weapons. Not yet. Their orders were to retrieve the target unharmed, if possible. Our robot's survival instincts blared like sirens in her head, and she burst away from the Ricos. She sprinted down the empty street and turned onto another empty street. All the streets seemed to be empty, but they wouldn't be empty for long. More and more big, bulky robots came zipping down to join the chase. The Ricos moved like machines. Their target moved like an animal. The wild robot stayed low, gliding across the streets, darting around buildings, vanishing into the shadows. Her computer brain thought back to those games of hide and seek she had played on the farm. But this was no game. Roz never should have gone into that alley. She was halfway through it when the Ricos appeared at both ends. There was only one direction to go. Using all the strength in her legs, our robot launched herself high into the air, and she clamped onto the side of a building. Frightened faces peered out from windows, but Roz did not want to frighten anyone. She just wanted to go home. The robot launched herself up and across the alley and clamped onto the opposite building. Back and forth she went, leaping between buildings, climbing higher and higher until she landed on a flat, lofty rooftop. The sky was filled with white airships. All at once, the ships turned toward Roz. Their engines buzzed as they closed in on our robot. But then came a strange swishing noise. Pigeons! Hundreds of them! Thousands of them! Wave upon wave of pigeons streamed up from streets and swarmed around the airships. Strutter had rallied her friends from every corner of the city. They had always hated airships buzzing loudly, crowding the skies and forcing the birds to fly low. And now a city's worth of pigeons were finally unleashing their anger. As you'd expect, the airships fought back. Blazing beams of light flickered across the skyline and left charred feathers floating on the breeze. But the pigeons didn't retreat. They tightened around the airships, distracting them, confusing them. There was a deafening screech. Little bodies fell, and an airship sprawled out of sight, leaving a trail of smoke behind it. Roz watched in horror as more pigeons and ships went down. She hollered for the birds to fly away, but they were lost in a fighting frenzy. Heavy feet thumped onto the roof. Rosum, Unit 7134, do not move. Roz didn't look. She just ran from the voice, leaped into the next rooftop, and kept on running. Our robot leapt up to the higher rooftop and then down to a lower one. Up and down she went, leaping from building to building, footsteps thundering behind her. But still, the Ricos did not fire their rifles. Ma, I'm here! Bright Bill swooped alongside his mother as she ran. What should we do? Bright Bill, you must fly to safety, hollered Roz. It is too dangerous up here. And then the softer voice of the robot said, I cannot escape. No, Ma, you have come too far. Don't give up now. Look, there's Rosum running. Look how high she's jumping compared to the Ricos. They're not as trained as she is, huh? Pretty scary. But Roz was finished running. She slowed and stopped at the edge of the rooftop. The goose fluttered into her arms, and our friends held each other close. You have been a good son, said Roz. You have saved my life so many times, but now you must save yourself and go on without me. Will I see you again? Said Bright Bill, wiping his eyes. I do not think so, said Roz. They still had so much to say to each other. There simply wasn't any more time. So they said the only words that really mattered. I love you, Ma. I love you, my son. Airships circled above. Ricos dropped onto rooftops. Rifles pointed at our robot. A voice boomed. Razem Unit 7134, do not move. But Roz did move. She heaved her son toward the sky so that he could fly to safety, and in that instant a trigger was pulled. A blazing beam of light flashed into our robot's leg. Damage sensor flared as the leg turned bright orange and melted away. Poor Roz tried to keep her balance, but she was already toppling backwards, off the roof. She seemed to hang in the air, sparkling in the sunlight, and then she fell, down, 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 to the street below. As Roz was falling, she took one last look at Bright Bill, soaring in the sky above. She watched him get smaller and smaller. Then everything suddenly went dark. Okay, we're going to do a journal entry for today. It's kind of a sad chapter, huh? That's not what we wanted the whole time that Roz and Bright Bill have been on the run. We definitely didn't want Roz to get caught in something like that. So journal entry for today, for Friday. What do you think, or why do you think it is that they are so intent on catching Roz? She's a good robot. She helps. She feels. She loves. She takes care of people and animals. She does her job really well. She's really smart and learns. She obeys orders. Why do you think that whoever made the robots, they're so worried about having a robot like Roz out in the world? Are they worried that maybe she might become too powerful, or they want to study her and learn why she can feel? I don't know. So write a couple sentences, 5 sentences at least, about why you think that they're so worried about catching Roz. So, all right, you guys, well, we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.